20 years ago, most people felt that we need to arrest more people. But I think most people were wrong, and I think I was wrong. This epidemic was in the African American community for years, and we did nothing about it. She's a pretty white girl, lives in the suburbs, and I think that could possibly be why people were calling this, saying, hey, how can we help? What we want to help. I now think the whole drug war is total bullshit.
I think people know that Eastern Kentucky was pretty much ground zero for the opioid epidemic. It was hard to grow up and watch Disney Channel shows where you have these like suburban kids who live these fantastic lives and you feel like it's a fantasy. By the time that I was 12, at one of my friend's birthday parties, I found her mom passed out. I don't think there's anybody in any rural community in the country that hasn't lost someone.
The gap is greatest in rural communities. So part of talking about the overdose epidemic here in the United States of America is that understanding that it doesn't affect all communities equally. And when you mentioned at the top, the data coming out of Colorado, well, those trends have been seen across the country. But interestingly about Colorado, it has an enormous rural population. And again, the rural communities are being disproportionately affected by overdose because oftentimes they have the least access to treatment, and patients seeking treatment are traveling long distances to access it.
3 deaths in a nearby school district within just the last month. They have all now been connected to fentanyl overdoses.
Yeah, we don't know what type of pills exactly were involved, but experts say the drug pushers using dangerous tactics to pull in very young users.
Very young. And as we approach Overdose Awareness Day, our Courtney Friedman tells us about one of those disturbing new trends. It's called rainbow fentanyl.
At first glance, they look like candy, but inside is a substance 100 times more potent than morphine and 50 times more potent than heroin. People buying pills off the street think they're getting Xanax, Adderall, hydrocodone, but what they're really getting is fentanyl, and there's no telling how much. Licensed chemical dependency counselor Jody Guetta is the business development director for Gallus Detox Center in San Antonio.
When asked, many of the clients that come into these detox center rooms say that they haven't taken fentanyl, but their test comes back and the drugs they did take were laced with it.
That's the fear with a new trend, rainbow fentanyl.
It is colored in nature, and that many believe is appealing to young people and appealing to potentially kids.
Fentanyl in general has become a scary reality for Hays County between Austin and New Braunfels. A week ago, Hays CISD Superintendent Dr. Eric Wright sent a notice out to the school community, alerting them there had been a third suspected fentanyl overdose death in just the past month. He also mentioned half-dozen cases where Hays CISD students as young as middle school-aged children have experienced life-threatening overdoses since the end of last school year and during the summer. The schools carry Narcan, which can reverse an overdose, and there's even a whole section about fentanyl on the district website. San Antonio area districts we spoke to said they haven't seen anything like this, but they're on alert.
It's almost a matter of time before we start realizing it.
He says now is the time to warn your loved one.
Took one pill, and that single pill had enough fentanyl in it to kill 4 people.
That is staggering, and deadly drug overdoses are tragically becoming more common. The CDC is showing it is the leading cause of death for those between the ages of 15 and 44, and fentanyl is a big part of the problem. And as if it wasn't already dangerous enough, now, and we've talked about this here at ABC 15, dealers are finding ways to make it even more appealing to our kids.
Only on ABC 15 mornings, it's a scary new trend called rainbow fentanyl. And Phoenix police spoke to me exclusively about what they're seeing.
It's a very cheap, easy to obtain drug. Kids with allowance money can buy a couple pills.
It comes in different colors, meant to look just like candy. Even goes by the name Skittles on the streets. But there's nothing sweet about these tiny pills.
Kids can see them and think that they're just a regular candy and pop them in their mouth and not knowing that it's fentanyl.
Not knowing they're dangerous and potentially deadly either. It's an alarming new trend Phoenix police officer Kenneth Sylvia has seen in just the past month. Rainbow-colored fentanyl pills. I spoke with Officer Sylvia at one of Phoenix PD's crime labs, where few cameras have been allowed inside. How concerning is this for parents out there?
As a parent, I would say it's very concerning because it can affect anybody.